Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the University of Pretoria School of the Arts Information Design exhibition in 2021. I'm Sabrina, a final year student, and will be your MC this evening. So there are various links available for viewing this exhibition, which can be seen in the descriptions below on the respective platform you're using to attend, such as Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Along with these, a Behance link has also been included for everyone to view the incredible portfolio work of our first, second, third, and fourth year students after this online exhibition opening. So we've all had an interesting but challenging journey to get to the end of this year, with some highlights and times where everything just felt like a bit of a blur. As such, our exhibition theme this year is inspired by the satirical flip side of what would have been highlights, but is now considered lowlights because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Everything is just turned on its head. So the shift towards online learning has been a challenge for everyone, but we are proud that we are able to continue our information design degree with a proactive team of both leaders and students. We had to adapt all of our final design deliverables to suit the online environment by creating 3D digital mockups instead of physically printing everything out, which would normally be seen displayed all throughout the department if the exhibition were in person. So this was a decision made last year and continued into this year to make sure that nobody was put at risk. And it also sure saved us a lot of printing money. This evening, we are privileged to have Alexander Malk as our guest speaker, and we are excited to share our showreel that showcases some of information design's best work completed during this academic year. We will conclude with the annual prize giving, which will be presented by two of our information design lecturers. So for now, Katlego, it's over to you.
Thanks, Sabrina, and that everything will come through correctly via my web connection. The question I have for you tonight is, what's next? This is a question that many of us might be dealing with, and I don't know. Right now, load shedding level 2. Being a South African, it is very easy to find things to complain about. And we have an endless abundance of options to choose from. In fact, so many, the conversations can just keep going and going. I'm also sure we have all had our full of sad stories. So tonight, I'm happy to report that I've got a good story to tell. With my introduction, I'd like to add that I am an exceptionally fortunate person. Some might call me lucky, others might call me blessed, but I prefer fortunate. By some miracle, I managed to marry the most talented, beautiful, and kind person that I've ever met. I've been paid to travel the world working as a filmmaker, and now every day I get to work with the most amazing team of people doing work.
Recording in progress.
But it seems that there's this thing of sharing quotes. And when I was in my fourth year, we also had to choose a quote and share it as something that we identified with. And I went back and looked at what was the quotes I shared as a fourth year. And I'd like to share that with you tonight. The question I had was, who wants to be normal? And the quote, sorry, let me just clarify that. I wrote the question, who wants to be normal? But it wasn't a abbreviation, who wants to be normal? A third thing we have in common is that for the fourth years, those that are going to graduate, and myself, you are about to receive new titles. In the coming months, you will, with all the official authority that the university has, you'll get a gold leaf certificate, and this will confirm that you are now officially a designer, and that is a new title that you get to carry with you. Of course, these titles are not ones that you say out loud. You don't go, hi, I'm, but it's something that you say as an I am statement. It's something that you say inside of yourself. I am a designer. It's linked to your identity. And the title that I'll be receiving is I will be becoming a father for the first time in 12 days. or 11 and a half days, if I'm correct. Again, I won't call myself Father Alexander. I didn't sign a reverend. No, but it is a title that I can say I am a father. And in this way, all of titles and thinking about the titles that you have is an exceptionally useful way to think about what you do and how you go about your life. Because the reality is we all are holders of a multitude of titles. You might be a son or a daughter, a brother or a sister. You'll be a student, a husband, an orientate behavior, and you to understand roles and responsibilities in ways that you think and apply the truth of who you are into that specific area of your life. Now, with these titles, some are given, others you need to earn. However, every single title that you have needs to be owned. So when I received the title of designer, and I was very thankful for this. In fact, it was because of my skills and the ability to see myself as a designer that I was able to take some steps and decide to figure out how to design my life, not just the work I was doing for my clients. And with this, I was able to apply the new thing of wanting to pivot my career. And that was, I really wanted to say, I am a filmmaker. But like some of you, you know that when you receive a title or when you're trying to earn a title, there's this thing called the imposter syndrome. And in my story, it took me 3 years before I was able to answer without feeling like an imposter. But I'd like to take you to that moment where for the first time in my life, I was a maker. This happened in 2013 when I stepped over this threshold. And for reasons lost to my subconscious, I've always envisioned that there was one city that I would have loved to go to with regards to filmmaking. And that city was New York City. And by the man I was actually trying to impress, to now get a small accommodation just for the weekend before I was going to be kicked out there as well. And I would like to say I was well composed at this moment, but that would be very far from the truth. At this point, I had $27 left of that $100 bill. And I decided I need to go. Well, no, that's a lie. I didn't decide I need to go. I was told that I had to go. And so I ventured out onto the New York streets, 3 bags, hardly being able to walk. And as I forgot one moment, sorry. With only $27, I knew it was going to be okay because I still had my credit card. And of course, I had money for the whole trip. So I went to try to draw money as I'd been kicked out, now being on the street. And my card froze. So that's actually an important little caveat. And as I walked out of the building, it was pouring with rain. And my plan to walk to the subway was impossible because already I was sweating, shivering, and freezing cold, could hardly walk. And at this moment, I cried out to God. I happened to orientate my life through a Christian faith. And at this point, having spent just a day back looking at crazy homeless people walking the streets of New York, wondering how they got there, the irony was that I was experiencing a pretty similar experience, carrying all my gear, all my things with me, talking to myself very loudly, or as more honestly, talking to God. I realized this plan was not going to work. And in that very moment, a taxi pulled up right in front of me, which, if you know, on a Friday night in New York City, when it's pouring with rain, to catch a cab is it's a rarity. So that was the first miracle. I just jumped into that cab, put all my bags in, got into the front seat, which apparently is not really what you're supposed to do, but I'd never caught a cab in my life before. And I realized I only had $27 and I have no idea how this all works. So I said one thing. I said, I have $27. This is the address. Can I get there? And I don't know if the man was being polite at that time, but he said, let's just go and see how far we get. In the cab, at least it was dry. I started telling him my story because he asked, what on earth are you doing? And we got about halfway on the trip when the meter had already run over the $27. And to my good fortune, the man agreed to keep on driving all the way. This man happened to be a man from Malawi. And I told him the whole story, and he was so empathetic. And he was telling me, oh, but we are African brothers. And he actually apologized because he and his brother were already sleeping on the floor in the apartment, working as cab drivers, trying to improve their education while they were living in New York City. So they didn't have space to add me there because literally was no extra space on the floor. I told him that everything would be fine and that I actually do have money. It's just that right now I was a bit stuck. We got eventually to my destination and the rain had lifted up a little bit. But I wanted to emphasize that at this point, I was in a deep crisis of faith. I was asking God, why on earth have you taken me to this God-forsaken country in this thing where I'm probably going to be destitute and really struggle? And as I got out the cab, and found the right apartment number, the taxi driver came out, obviously asking for his $27. So I was about to give him the $27. And he said, no, really, you keep it. And I said, no, it's fine. Money will be fine. It's just is a problem for now. But he said, no, you need it. So graciously, I knew it might take a bit of time to unstuck the credit card. So I graciously accepted. Then he took out his wallet. And the cab driver that refused to be paid, a New York cab driver, let me just add, that refused to be paid, took out his wallet. And to me, as a complete stranger, he took out $100 bill and gave it to me. This was one of the most meaningful experiences of my life. In the moment where I felt I was completely crushed, unvalidated, confused about all the decisions I've made, I saw this from my faith, as the ultimate validation of that $100 bill, of the act of a father coming out saying, I'm proud of you and I love you. That is my experience, and that's how I interpreted it. But the principle is very simple. You'll find your greatest moments in the lowlights of your life. I have never found more value in anywhere than in the failures, and that's why I like to talk about them. It is through your failures, it's through the moments where you think you're on the darkest, in the depths of your soul, where you really can, and if you have the courage to push through, you will find the validation and the energy and all that you need to push through. They allow you to ask the most important questions. The key question here, which is perhaps my point number 2, is a question of who are you? If you want to answer the question to what's next, you need to have a clear sense of self. Fast forward a few years, I am married and my wife has got an university to study overseas. And by a series of highly fortunate events or divine intervention, depending on how you want to interpret it, we end up in Vienna. Vienna is the capital of classical music, but also an incredibly rich culture, has incredibly rich cultural history. 2 prominent Venetians, that's a fancy name for people that live in Vienna, from Vienna. I wasn't allowed to call myself a Venetian. That was explained very clearly to me while I was living there. 2 Venetians are Sigmund Freud and Viktor Frankl. Now, I do not have the time to go into classical psychology, which is probably good because I would know next to nothing about classical psychology. But here is a very oversimplified, but fair enough, condensed version of 2 schools of thought. Freud would argue that man's ultimate purpose is for a search for pleasure or happiness. Frankl disagrees. He says man's search is for the search of meaning or purpose. And if man cannot find meaning or purpose, then he will try and numb the pain of this void by seeking out pleasure. For me, I happen to be in Viktor Frankl's camp, with no pun intended. I can ask this question to you perhaps in a different way. Are you a creator or are you a consumer? Who are you? This is another form of a title that you can carry. Now, these titles are not mutually exclusive. We all consume. If we don't consume, we will die, which is the thing that I mentioned we all have in common. So that is also inevitable. But not everyone necessarily creates. You are receiving the title of designer. You are a creator. I have no doubt that you will produce marvelous things in your careers. But that will happen without much need for intervention. It's a bit of a natural output at this point. But my intervention for you tonight, or perhaps my challenge, is to be the designer of your own life. Take the time to write a brief for the life you would like to live, not only the work you want to produce. Do you really service or living a life of service is pretty close to the way I orientate every single aspect of my life. Now, there are two crazy aspects when it comes to serving others. The one is it actually provides fulfillment and meaning, which if you are on Viktor Frankl's camp, that's pretty useful. The second is it also happens to be the best secret to success I've yet to discover. And to be fair, I have not explored all the secrets of success, but in terms of my life experience thus far, I have not found a better one. I told you about the pinnacle of my filmmaking career when I went to New York, which also very quickly turned into a nightmare and 2 of the toughest months of my life. But let me quickly tell you of how I got there. I served. For me, my service took on the form of multiple internships. I started interning at a film company. This is now with my honors degree and a wonderful portfolio and reasonably good marks. And I arrived there, and it very quickly dawned on me, no one cared. I had 2 responsibilities. 1, make photocopies. 2, make coffee on demand. And for 2 weeks, this is all I was allowed to do. But I was in time, I had a good attitude, and I tried wherever I could to see if I was of service to anyone. My internship ended with no fruit. I went back for a second internship, and this time they said, "Oh, Alex, yes, we remember you from last time. Actually, we'd like to give you a promotion." I was very excited by this, and they gave me the title of unit manager. I quickly accepted this title, a promotion. Who would not take a promotion? Unfortunately, this didn't include any form of payment, but I did feel that this was starting to move in the right direction. Little did I know that unit manager, at this point, I had no idea what it meant. All it meant was that I got to make photocopies, make coffee, and also when the coffee ran out, I had to buy more coffee. I had to, I had to buy the food and those things. But it was a step forward. 4 internships later, still not being paid, but being accessible, having a good attitude, being on time, and just trying to help where I could. I had access to seeing the editing process of a first feature film. And as I got to the end of the feature film, the editing process, not the feature film itself, we watched it multiple times, obviously, in the editing process. But as we got to the end, I realized because of the access that I had to sit in the room, they had no title sequence. And they were just putting on a basic graphic of what they were going to use for the film. So that night, I took out my laptop and fired up After Effects. I added a blur effect to a title, cross-dissolve it on one of the shots. And the next day, when I was there and the director came in, I quickly pulled her aside and showed her this title. That was my first title sequence that was ever put into a film. Credited, but unpaid. The irony of my life is that I run a creative agency that produces a fair number of marketing strategies for our clients. Yet, we as a company have never had one ourselves. We don't even have a website that represents our offering to our clients. Every single one of my clients that I've ever had has come from direct word of mouth, from those internships. By being of service to others, by listening to them, making yourself available, I have had a successful career in multiple endeavors, also a few failures, but there's no time to go into more of those. But the simplicity is that when you serve, you are able to connect to your true purpose and get fulfillment of meaning of life. The last thing about serving is you realize a deeper truth, and there's a freedom in this deeper truth. And that is, it's not all about me. So with that, saying it's not all about you, I would now like to congratulate you on receiving your titles or your new titles very shortly. I want to encourage you, do your best to make sure that your new title lives in harmony with the rest of the titles that you already hold. Embrace the lowlights. You'll find strength there for your future self that is still unknown. Seek purpose over pleasure. It's more rewarding in the end. And whenever you are in doubt and you don't know how to start, serve. So what's next? I've already told you the answer. I don't know. But I do know that every single problem is nothing more than a badly defined opportunity. We live in the land of opportunity. There has never been a better time to be unleashed into the world. I really hope that you'll be lucky, blessed, and favored. I wish you well. And don't worry too much, because no matter what you do or how you decide or what decisions you make, in the end, we will all die. Give it your best shot. Good luck.
Thank you so much for those nuggets of wisdom. Although you only facilitated one project this year, you made such an impact on our group that there was a consensus to invite you as our guest speaker tonight. And one of the things I took away from you was, whatever you get involved in, make it the dopest content possible. We truly learned that form follows content. And on behalf of the class, we'd like to thank you again and wish you all the best for the new year. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you so much, Kat. Up next is our showreel of student work from some of our second years, with most from our third and fourth year students. Enjoy. We now hand over to our lecturers, Fatima Kasim and Carl Roth, to commence with the prize giving. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Sam and Katlejo and Alex for sharing some nuggets, like Katlejo said, with the students when they decide, or now that they're moving on, and what's next for them. And yeah, so for any newcomers who are listening in today, thank you so much for joining us. It's such a pity that we can't have this exhibition in person like we used to, but nonetheless, we're really grateful that we're still able to host one, even though it's virtual. So, as is tradition during the exhibition, is to award student prizes from first to fourth year. And that's what Kyle and I are going to be doing this evening. So, we will start with the first year awards. And again, just to give you an overview for those of you who are unfamiliar with the information design program, the program comprises two overarching practical subjects that are information design and imaging and visualization. These two subjects run for the duration of the students' 4 years. However, in the final year, the two subjects come together and are no longer offered separately. So students are able to apply what they've learned in imaging and visualization in the former years to their areas of professional practice in their final year of study. So with that, I will start with the first year subject, with the first year subjects and the first year group. And usually what we do is we offer awards for the top overall student. And this year, in first year, we'd like to congratulate Amane Swart, and she will be receiving an ACNIA voucher. Congratulations, Amane, for being the top overall student. We're really proud of you. Then secondly, we will move on to
Fatima. Sorry to interject, Fatima. Sorry for the technical issues here. We just need to start with imaging, then IW, then overall student.
Oh, okay, Kyle, because I've got it separately. I don't think it should be a problem.
No, so just go imaging and then IW and then overall.
Okay. Okay, not
so
a
let's
problem.
just start again there.
Okay. Sorry about that. All right. And you can see why it's better to be doing this in person, but nonetheless, sorry to get ahead. So we'll start with the top. ILL is the acronym for what is the imaging and visualization subject. So that award goes this year to Alyssa Kraus. And she also receives a monetary ACNIA voucher. So congratulations to Alyssa. Then next we have the top IW student, which is the top information design student. And that is awarded to the top performing first year design student. And this year, the award goes to Belinda van Niekerk. Congratulations, Belinda. And then lastly, the top overall student prize, that goes to Amane Swart. Well done, Amane. You got 2 mentions. Okay, then moving on to the second years, we will begin with the top student for imaging and visualization. And the top performing student this year was Johan Steen. Congratulations, Johan, and you will be receiving an ACNIA voucher as well. Then moving on to the top information design student. This year, that award goes to Bronwyn Sinclair, who also receives an ACNIA voucher. And then in second year, the certificate or the prize for the top overall student goes to Marcelette Minal. And Marcelette, what she will be receiving is not a monetary a voucher, but she's the lucky winner of a Ureon drawing tablet. And we hope, Marcelette, that this will allow you to continue being the best at what you do. And we hope that you will enjoy using your tablet. And the third year and fourth year awards, I hand over to Kyle for him to award the prizes.
Thank you very much, Fatima. I should start off by saying, before I get into the third years, with the third years, you'll notice there's a little bit of a split in both the imaging and visualization subjects as well as the design subjects, the IW subject. And the reason for this is that the marks were exactly the same for both students. I don't think we've ever had this kind of a split, but without further ado, so there are two students that received the prize for imaging and visualization in third year, and that the winners are Kaylee Peterson as well as Nokobonga Ndlovu. Well done, guys. Very well deserved. And then again, in the design subject, IW300, we have two winners. The first is Trent Shippey, and secondly, Zuin van Wyk. Again, well done to both of you. All right, and then our top overall student for third year, and this is actually by she's quite a way away from everyone else, is Marissa Urlemans. Well done, Marissa. All right, then I'm going to move on to fourth year. Fourth year, again, is somewhat different. We only have the one design subject, so imaging and visualization falls away. And so because there's only one subject in fourth year, I'm going to go from third to first place. So to start off with, in third place, so the third best performing student in fourth year, I have Sally Etzebeth. Well done, Sally. And then moving on to the second place, we have Carla Janssen. Congratulations, Carla. And then finally, the top performing student in fourth year overall is Olivia Fong. Congratulations, Olivia. And then I'm going to quickly also go over, we've got an additional prize. So although we mentioned that the two practical subjects are imaging and visualization and then design, the core theoretical subject for the fourth years is called visual communication. And that is essentially their theory subject. And the top performing student in VKK who receives an exclusive books voucher is also Olivia Fong. Congratulations, Olivia. All right, I'm going to go back to Sabrina, who's going to take us through the next part of the presentation.
All right. Despite 2021 being a strange and challenging year, it was still spectacular. Even though we would have loved to see more of each other in person, we are grateful that our lecturers and all those involved in the information design program have managed amazingly well to ensure that our experience has been truly memorable. On behalf of the graduating class of 2021, as well as the other information design year groups, we would like to thank in particular the following people for ensuring that we took responsibility, stretched our imaginations, and pushed us to generate some truly incredible work. The head of the School of Arts, Professor Alexander Johnson, for his support. The Chair of Visual Arts, Professor Liza Creel, for her unwavering support and funding, as well as Duncan Rayburn, the Information Design Program Coordinator. Our two incredible subject coordinators this year, Kyle Rath and Fatima Kasim, for their consistent dedication and hard work in making sure everything runs smoothly and efficiently. Thank you to Alexander Malk, the guest speaker, for sharing meaningful insights again with us, as well as the sponsors of the student prizes, Archnia, ORMS, and iStore Education. As information design students, we could not have done it without all your support, hard work, and dedication, and are very grateful for all your effort, especially behind the screens. Thank you. Sorry, Sads, I think you're on mute.
Shit. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Another reminder for everyone to click on the Behance link to view the information design portfolios after this. We hope that our work inspires you, or even just if you find it really cool. Overall, I think we all feel a sense of relief that 2021 is coming to an end, and we look forward to wrapping up after this year in crunch time, which I'm sure we've all experienced. So many of us are fortunate to already have jobs lined up for next year. Some of us are still in the process of securing work, and some of us are going in very different directions across the globe, if and when we're not banned from other countries. So irrespective of where we're all headed, we're all using our degree as a platform to take us into the future. It would be great if you all checked out our work on Instagram and Behance, like I said, with the links in the descriptions. Leave some likes and comments and subscribe. And to all the industry leaders watching us right now, our fourth years look forward to interviewing with you soon. Although we are faced with many challenges over the past 4 years, I can confidently say that we have all grown and upskilled ourselves to be valuable in whichever professional field we find ourselves. Once again, I thank the Information Design Division and everyone involved in making these past 4 years a great success. We wish everyone the best going forward into the new year. Take care and be safe. Thank you.